Hello everyone, welcome to my channel. Please subscribe and keep watching more details. RHOC Tamra judge tearfully reveals she's on the spectrum. The Real Housewives of Orange County star Tamra Judge shared a major health update with her fans. During the Oct 15th episode of her podcast, 2Ts and a Pod Judge shared some personal health news. Judge, 57, got emotional as she shared she has a new diagnosis after being in therapy. Tamra shares big news. Tamra Judge got emotional in her latest podcast and shared that she is on the spectrum. She learned of her diagnosis after participating in therapy. Recently, Judge posted on Instagram a clip from the podcast. She is speaking to co-host Teddy Mellencamp and shared, "I just did my first therapy session. Let's just say I found out something pretty big about myself that I didn't know." Mellencamp responded, "Now I need to know." "Like what?" And Tamra replied, "I am on a spectrum." Teddy appears to be shocked by this news, replying, "Oh my gosh, Tan, don't make me cry." Mrs. Judge replied as she began tearing up, "My biggest problem is working through trauma that I had in my life." The term the spectrum references autism spectrum disorder. Autism is a neurological and developmental condition that alters an individual's behavioral, social, and communication functioning. Autism presents with a wide range of symptoms and severity. Tamra Judge went on to explain she now knows why she acts the way she does in certain situations. Coping with the news. Judge appears to be coping with the news of her diagnosis. She says, "I just thought that things were black and white to me that, I grew up with a family that didn't have a lot of empathy or love or whatever. So that just transpired that onto, my adult life." It turns out Tamra's diagnosis has had a large impact on her functioning. Tamra went on to explain, "But after talking and going through everything and my emotions, and I have a hard time with empathy and feeling other people's feelings. There's a reason why," she added, telling co-host Teddy Mellencamp, and she shared this with her off camera. Mrs. Judge explained some of the conversations she had with her therapist which led up to her diagnosis. She said certain things like, "My therapist asked me, 'You have really bad social anxiety, and you are very much like, I just want to be at home. And it's because the anxiety that I have when I talk to people and how I make it through the show is drinking.'" Tamra said there are going to be some big changes moving forward. She said, "There's gonna have to be a lot of huge changes, and that it's going to be a rough few months. Hopefully, she finds the support she needs to move forward." The Real Housewives of Orange County, RHOC, is no stranger to emotional revelations, but fans were left stunned and moved by a particularly vulnerable moment when Tamra Judge, one of the show's most outspoken stars, tearfully shared her diagnosis of being on the autism spectrum. Known for her fiery personality and no-nonsense approach to drama, Tamra has always been a force to be reckoned with in the world of reality television. However, in this deeply personal episode, viewers got to see a completely different side of her, a side filled with vulnerability, self-reflection, and raw emotion. The build-up to the revelation. In the weeks leading up to this significant moment, fans noticed that Tamra had been quieter than usual, often stepping back from the center of the drama that typically surrounds the cast of RHOC. Her behavior had sparked curiosity and concern among the women, and the speculation only grew as Tamra became more introspective in group settings. What many didn't know was that behind the scenes, Tamra had been on a personal journey of discovery, one that would lead her to an autism spectrum diagnosis that she had not yet shared with anyone. The episode opened with a rare glimpse of Tamra alone in her home, reflecting on her life and the struggles she had faced over the years. The camera captured her in deep thought as she sipped on her morning coffee, seemingly preparing herself for a difficult conversation. In a confessional, Tamra revealed that she had been struggling with feelings of being different her entire life. "There were always things that just didn't add up for me," she said, her voice breaking. "I always felt like an outsider, even in my own family. I never understood why I couldn't connect with people the way others did, why social situations felt so overwhelming to me. I thought I was just bad at relationships or bad at being a normal person." A tearful moment with the cast. Later in the episode, Tamra invited her fellow housewives to a casual gathering at her home. What the other women thought would be a typical day filled with light banter and gossip quickly turned into one of the most emotional moments in RHOC history. As the women gathered in her beautifully decorated backyard, Tamra called for everyone's attention. With her trademark bluntness tempered by a vulnerability rarely seen, she began her confession. "I've been dealing with something really big in my life lately," Tamra began, her voice shaky as she clutched a tissue. The other women looked on with concern, not knowing what to expect. "I'd always had issues connecting with people, feeling overwhelmed, and just being different. And recently, I went to see a specialist," she continued, her voice cracking under the weight of her words. "And I found out that I'm on the autism spectrum." The silence that followed her revelation was palpable. The other housewives sat in stunned shock, their faces reflecting a mix of surprise and empathy. Tamra, holding back tears, explained how the diagnosis had both shaken and relieved her. "I spent so much of my life thinking something was wrong with me, but now I finally have an answer. I'm not broken. I'm not weird. I'm just different, and that's okay." The cast reacts with support and empathy. The news hit the cast hard. Shannon Beater, who has been both Tamra's closest friend and her fiercest foe over the years, was the first to break the silence. Fighting back tears, Shannon reached over and grabbed Tamra's hand. "Tamra, we love you no matter what. You're not alone in this," she said softly, her voice filled with genuine care. Emily Simpson, known for her pragmatic approach to life, chimed in, "It takes so much courage to share something like this, especially in a public forum like this. We all have our struggles, and the fact that you're owning yours is amazing." Heather DeBrow, always the poised and polished voice of reason, echoed Emily's sentiments. "Autism spectrum or not, you are still the same strong, fiery woman we all know and love. This diagnosis doesn't define you, Tamra. If anything, it helps us understand you better." Even Jenna Kirschenheiter, who had clashed with Tamra earlier in the season, expressed her support. "We may have had our differences, but this is so much bigger than any drama we've had. I respect you so much for opening up like this," she said, her voice trembling with emotion. The journey to diagnosis. In her confessionals, Tamra shared more details about her journey leading up to the diagnosis. She explained how a series of life events, including her struggles with social interactions, sensory sensitivities, and difficulty managing emotions, led her to seek professional help. After undergoing evaluations, Tamra learned that many of the challenges she had faced throughout her life were actually symptoms of autism spectrum disorder, ASD. "I always thought of autism as something that affected children or people who were nonverbal. I had no idea it could look like me, someone who's outgoing, talkative, and social. But autism is a spectrum, and it presents differently in everyone," she said. Tamra went on to explain that the diagnosis had given her a new perspective on herself and her relationships. "I've been so hard on myself over the years, and now I realize that a lot of the things I've struggled with weren't my fault. I just needed to understand how my brain works, and now I do." A new chapter for Tamra. As the episode progressed, it became clear that this revelation marked a turning point for Tamra. While her diagnosis may have been shocking to fans and cast members alike, it also provided a sense of closure for her. For the first time in her life, Tamra felt empowered to embrace her differences rather than hide them. "I'm still the same person I've always been," she said during a reflective moment. "But now I have a better understanding of why I'm the way I am. I can finally stop apologizing for myself, and that feels incredible." The episode ended with Tamra receiving an outpouring of love and support from her fellow housewives, as well as fans on social media. Viewers praised her for her bravery in sharing such a personal and life-changing diagnosis on a public platform.